Fresh in the gate, bag gear, blank slate. You and your Illuvials, hungry, not great. Boots on the stone, hands on the rail. First slam in the arena, first hard fail. They read your move, then broke your line. One clean strike and you fell every time. Dust on your face, grin still alive. You said run it back just to survive. Round after round you stayed in the fire. Every scar taught you higher, higher. You learned their feints, their breath, their pace. You learned how to lose without losing your place. Round after round you rise. Round after round you rise. They knocked you down, you got back up. Now you drink that pain like a champion cup. Round after round you rise. Round after round you rise. From the floor to the ground, you don't stay down. New scars stacked up on your name. Bad brackets, bad draws, same old shame. Your alluvial shook, then stood again. Little by little they learned to win. One move left when the trap got set. One took the hit, never blinked yet. You stopped chasing glory, started to build. Slow hand, sharp heart, iron will. And after round you stayed in the fire. Every fall turned to spark a little brighter. You learned their feints, their breath, their pace. You learned how to lose without losing your place. Round after round you rise. Round after round you rise. They knocked you down, you got back up. Now you drink that pain like a champion cup. Round after round you rise. Round after round you rise. From the floor to the crown, you don't stay down. Long nights, long walks back, salt in your mouth, cracks in the track. Then one clean break, one perfect call. Your team moved like one and they took it all. No more panic, no more please, just calm in the blaze, eyes on the keys. The crowd went wild when your name hit high. You looked at the ring like, this is mine, mine, mine. This is mine, 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 mine. Round after round you rise. Round after round you rise. They knocked you down, you got back up. Now you drink that pain like a champion cup. Round after round you rise. Round after round you rise. From the floor to the crown, you don't stay down. Champion, no, you rise. Champion, now, you rise. The bruises were proof you came through.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone's been having a fantastic day so far, and we are about to get started with our game day. Of course, we had ourselves a bit of a game day on, I believe it was Tuesday, but that one had a little bit more additional stipulations to the side of it, trying to do outside the box kind of thinking with a bunch of the low tiers. Now, today is my grind day to try and get a bunch of matches, as many as possible, in during our time slot, and try to get a little bit competitive with it. If I have to use my best team, I absolutely will. If I don't, and I have an opportunity to, say, maybe play a bot lobby, maybe we'll get a little experimental and whatnot. But I'm looking forward to this nonetheless. Should be an exciting and fun day. Always enjoy when I get to actually sit down on stream and actually compete a little bit myself. I love casting all of yous, and I love just casting in general and making content. But every once in a while, it's good to sit back and compete a little bit. That being said, though, not going to get too comfortable here. We'll see how things go. Of course, we did just have the resets, or not the resets, but we had the rewards come out from yesterday. Thankfully, my rewards from the leaderboard, I think I was in the top 25 at the end of the last one. I've dropped a little bit since. I'm in the top 30 still, but I was able to get essentially my XP boost for the week covered just by the rewards themselves, so I'm pretty happy about that. Starting off today, we do have at least two people in here for sure. Mabsby and then Communiac going to be coming on in for game number 1. Everybody else I do believe is a bot, but that's a-okay. We still got a 3 out of 8. We'll see what we can do. Jacob Wodak, good to see you, and you're also, thank you for the good luck and have fun. And I saw your comment right before going live here. I didn't get the chance to respond to it, but you're very welcome. I definitely noticed that your squad was missing a closer. And then, if I recall correctly anyway, I could be wrong, but I looked at the stats before sending the Ephisto. That might have actually been the Ephisto that I used to use before I got the one that I use now. So, looking forward to seeing how it performs on your team. Region this time. Free reroll every single round. Sounds good to me. Use the little guys early. We're getting energy off the start, it looks like. Guess we'll just use singulating. Potentially a fusion augment coming on through here in a second as well, but I want to pause for at least a moment. Don't want to completely full commit onto a team just yet. Level up to 4. Get 1 beefy tank. A little bit of DPS there with the Rota. I can tank up a little bit more, actually, if I bring in my Tipo. Maybe get these two to dive together onto a target. Give you some damage. Recycle that. Should still be a relatively close fight. I didn't check the level of the bots today, though. There were 28, so I definitely have the level advantage in this lobby. Not a for sure thing, of course. You can never sleep on the players. Not in the slightest. Get greedy, you will absolutely get punished. But seeing that the bots are in the 20s, in theory, should have me breathing a little bit easy. But again, no sleeping. Hope to see a kid. I hope you will see your Ephisto in game soon. That would be absolutely incredible. That's what it's all about. Okay, weapon-wise for this first game, let's take a look and see what Mabsby and then what Communiac is doing. I'm seeing Communiac with the fire bulwark weapon, and then Mabsby picking up the Scion. I'm going water then, if that's going to be the case here. I've got one of my Lynxes ready to come play. We'll keep everything else the same for now. I'm a little confident now that I got the Lynx on board here as well. Optimally, I probably should have swapped over those augments from the Rota onto the Lynx instead. And I still have 2 sitting on my bench, so was a little bit too slow. I personally find that I'm a little bit of a slowpoke in terms of those rounds where there's something additional added. Whether it's a drone augment, weapon, or suit upgrade or something along those lines, I always choke the fight right after that because of focusing too hard on the extra action. So any of these rounds that have me like this, for instance, I get a little bit out of shape of sorts. Now, if I'm going water, I mean, this would in theory be a good pick, but do I wish to completely pigeonhole my build off the rip? I do not think so until I re-rolled that. So never mind, we're going to do that one. And hey, look at that. A little dash, actually. A little bit of streamer luck coming my way here, apparently. I once again did not get the chance to actually change my loadout. Yeah, because I was thinking of the total offensive boost, but I feel like offensive boost just doesn't hit hard enough to be worth it. So that's why I rolled it, trying to see if I can find a combat rhythm or something. Did not come through. We're going to take the Veteran's Might anyway, and sure enough, right after that, the dash was there, ready and waiting. Yeah, we can probably just mass water. The Lynx isn't going to fit into that equation, but that's okay. There's another way we could potentially take this as well if we did manage to land another Lynx. We will level up to 5 now. Get some raw damage up in here. The biggest damage we can add. We'll give it to the Lynx for now. I still don't trust my dash. My dash is just a baby, level 39 currently. So I don't expect it to be a carry as of this moment. Yeah, so with the two ways that we can play this here this time by, basically, since the Lynx can evolve into a fire empath. Empaths are not naturally in the game unless you hit in the TPO or you have the Flame Warden staff or your Ranger. Both of those extremely RNG dependent though. So you can normally usually not get it. But since we do have it as a part of the Lynxes, this might start off as a toxic Aegis or a heavy water build, but it could spin into Steam Aegis, which I rarely ever get to play due to the difficulty of actually obtaining it. So we'll see how it ends up turning out here. We already have the dash, so that's a fantastic little start. I'm getting a ton of Omega power. A little bit unfortunate. If I managed to get Dual F, that would be incredible, but that is still a ways away from potentially being a thing. Since we did get the free rerolls here, I can look for... First off, the Caradulo shall arrive just in time here. My Virtuous Lynx is ready to play. Make some adjustments. See, you come over here. Actually, no, I kind of want you in the front line there, Lynx, oddly enough. Come on back just ever so slightly. Archie, you're not quite red. Oh, no, I do need you, actually, for the toxic side of things. A little bit of a mess, but we may do. Hitman JB, good to see you. I'm doing all right. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Now, I just need to get up to an Archos before I truly commit to my next move. Mavsby is also looking for Lynxes, though. Let me double check. It looks like we're going to win this one rather handily. They do have a handful, actually. So the safest bet now is probably just to go water. If the Lynxes are going to be fought for, I might not want to take that fight. I can still spin this into Toxic Aegis for the time being, though. But since nobody else really is going full-on water, I think I would be silly to not go for it. It's still a very, very strong build right now. Sewer Water themselves might have gotten nerfed a little bit, but still a solid team. There's Communiac leveling up. Average of 16. We've got a couple flares or a couple of nice little Illuvials coming on through. Nice Dark Hollow. Hang on, let me take a look at this guy. How about that? A beautiful little Dark Hollow. Ooh, That is a beautiful Dark Hollow Axodon, or not Axodon, Axon. Nice one, Communion. Let me get my drone out of here. There we go. Yeah, so a couple ways that we can go from here. Again, like I was saying, this could go either Toxic Aegis, or this can spin into full water. Either way, I probably want to at least get my Atlas up to an Axon, and then Archie at least up to Archos. I can figure it out from there, because at least in both of those scenarios, I would have both the pieces for pivoting. And they're naturally throwing lynxes at me, so I might be inclined to just keep going, actually. Since I'm rolling anyway, that worked out rather nicely. I'm still going to sit here at 70 credits, though. I want the maximum amount of credits every single round. I'm going to switch out Omega into either offensive or another tank augment. If it's another tank augment, I'll switch out this Omega cell with a fighter one, or a red one. Try and get some sort of protection through a phase breaker or something like that. Even though phase breakers had its stats nerfs considerably, you still can't deny the effectiveness of just being able to go untargetable. So I still would like to have that. Even if I had my links up in the front lines like this, sometimes I'll put a phase breaker on it. I might get the opportunity to show you here today what I'm talking about. But kind of treat a virtuous links, even though it's an empath, you could treat it like a tank, and it's kind of fun. Okay, we are going to then see the AoE. Let's do the AoE. There's Archos. That's a nice little find. One more links, potentially. There you are. Hello, beautiful. Virtuous Ember Links. TPI-wise might not necessarily be the greatest, but offensively, you're an absolute madman. So I'm looking forward to seeing this links in action. I can level up and get Atlas on the field for my 4th. And then what we can do, we're going to Aegis buff the Lynx for the time being. It's a support, it's a tank, it's damage all at the same time. Of course, one thing to keep in mind as well, with the changes to the Lynxes, every single time they cast, they get an additional stat, while the Fire Lynxes just happen to be damaged. So this thing is going to go absolutely crazy. Whether it's up close and personal or shooting at you, it's going to do fantastic damage. Why do some players not open the legendary augment at the beginning of the match? Is there a reason? Absolutely. Because depending on what team you're going for, you might not know exactly what legendary augment would be the best case scenario for you. Not going to find the one that I was looking for. I mean, let's just get some energy resistance this time. Because, like, say, for example, if I immediately opened up my my legendary box, and then I didn't get, or, excuse me, if I opened up my legendary box and I was thinking that I was going to go play Rogue, for example, and then none of the legendary augments were based around Rogue. They're like defensive or for Omega power. That could be enough of a decision or enough of an instance to get you to change your team composition completely. Alright, Aegis chip now online for a little bit of extra fun. Let's give that to Caradulox. Let's continue the pump Aegis into our links. I'm going to get to the damage. Let's do it percent health. Let's try that. We'll give Archos this. I need to better position my Illuvials to kind of help out this scenario. I was a little too slow. With us being 2 levels down, this could be problematic, but I have faith in the Lynx, considering we're kind of, it's not a bunker, but we're bunched up in the middle of the battlefield. This Lynx is going to carry me very, very nicely behind all of these big tanks. Big man, I tested out Nature Colossus last night and only had time for the 1 match, and it was all bots. Got 6 Nature, 3 Colossus, wasn't able to get the Caradu locked. That definitely sounds like some JB luck. I know I was watching the VOD, and that definitely looked stressful. Definitely hate when that happens, but fortunately the name of the game sometimes, I swear to God. Let's see, with us being a bulwark, let's take a shield. How about a little Alfie to join us? I'll gladly accept you on board. Now that we're level 7, is anybody picking up Krunks? Sure enough, there is one. Out of City does have just the one, but not too many, so I'm going to roll a little bit. There's a dash for me. We're doing a pretty good job at finding Archies. There's another Alfie, oddly enough. Once again, too slow to make the move that I had wanted to do. Let's see. Something like that for now. Gnarl tanked around 18k damage. That's incredible. That's the thing. Colossus is so cool. It's such a good team composition. Just whenever you're actually playing against other people with it, it's so hard to actually pull off. Okay, so we're not going to actually hit the base breaker, but I'm going to try converging impact reactor because Lynxes naturally have a ton of health. So I want to see how this works. Can we find Archelion by chance? One more Archie. There you go, Archelion. Good to see ya. And just in case that was going to end up coming through, I did end up picking up the Klings, getting ready to potentially go for Gnarl. This one's definitely looking tougher, but here come the heals from the Lynx, and just look at us shred. I don't even have a traditional carry right now that's actually built up and good to go, so this is beautiful. Hector, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. It could have been better if RNG was better, absolutely. Would be great if we had the real Ascendant, absolutely. If only. Okay, let's make you the Krunk, the honorary Aegis unit for the time being. How do we want to utilize this a little bit more? We could kind of corner up a little bit, do something like this. And the Ranger up front a little bit. Can you guys defend the Sinalf, please? A little bit slow, but we do pick up the dash for our next round. Yeah, our Lynx is still doing a fantastic job. Heck, even Archelion is on top of these damage boards. And this is my gripe right now currently with the Virtuous Lynxes, the fully evolved variants. Because the health, or the healing, and the damage both require missing health, the Lynx doesn't truly get the opportunity to shine until it's honestly too late. Meanwhile, something like Archelion, in both damage and healing, even though it's a lower tier, just absolutely outpaces everything that that the Lynx can do. Okay, I'm gonna recycle this augment. We do have our Rake now on the board, which lets me switch things up here in just a second's time. Gyarados does a ton of Thorns damage if you increase its Omega power through augments. That's definitely interesting. DPS Gyarados. Just for the sake of safety, there's the Phase Breaker. Water Chip, please. Yep, thank you. And let's heal with our tank. Okay. So I can put a Phase Breaker onto the Lynx and let it sit up front a little bit more. Snuggle up a little bit like this for the time being. We'll give our damage over to our Rake. Let's bring our Lynx over. This is now successfully turned into Steam Aegis. Water Chip onto the Lynx. Level Twine. Join us. That now brings Verdant into the equation. Gyarados, take any backline jumpers by covering this fella up a little bit. Something along those lines. And we'll get to level 9 next turn. So the Steam is there to buff up the Rake, but the Aegis is there to buff up the Lynx, if that makes sense for the time being. Yeah, Sinolf goes down, but I'm not even worried at this point. Perfect. Needed a Harbinger at one point, and there's nothing that could attack it without dying. That sounds extremely satisfying. Okay, Fortress Protocol potentially, or 5% additional pure damage. Let's just keep going for kill. Alright, who else has Rakes? There's one that's about to die, probably. And then nobody else has it? Works for me. There's another dash, actually. We're going up against Mabsby now, so what I'm going to do... Is there a bird? No, there's a Lynx on that side, though. We're going to pick this fella up. We're going to bring the little Winks in there just for the occasional bit of disruption. And then just watch the rest of the squad go. I'm waiting for this beam from Sinolf. There it goes. A solid shot overall. The poor little Anteater couldn't even get its cast off. And there we go. A perfect case scenario there for the Lynx as well. That missing health healing did a remarkable job of keeping Crunk alive for at least just a little bit longer. We do eventually lose a couple of our carries, but it's okay. We still got way more where that came from. And the level advantage. So it made it very tough there for Mabsby to get through. They're pretty close to the Mammoth, though. That could be scary. With Drip Vac being taken down, and if they're going to feed me squids, I'm not going to say no. We're going to go for that. Let's scoop everything up nice and fast, why don't we? Any luck for any other Umber? There you are. We can change this up now. So slightly. I'm probably going to get 2 out of 3. We're going to Umber, or Super Juice this Umber with Aegis buffs. Let's watch how fast this poor little Furiox dies. Like 5 shots and it's gone. Beautiful. Next possible upgrade would be to find Dualef. I am in no pressure whatsoever, so it's a bit of a best case scenario. There's nothing else I really think that I need to add more into this team. Like the Ghost of Mabsby. I mean, that's going to be a little bit rough to try and punch through a very heavy nature-based team. Okay, so let's move over ever so slightly. So, Umber, there's one. We've got the Aegis-tipped Trunk. The Aegis Ranger. Healer Lynx over here. Twine also here for backup. Octius over here. With a little bit of coverage from Axon. There we go. Let's watch this Umber go nuts if possible. Umber already up to 10k damage once a couple of those Wraith Strikes go off. Oh yeah, that's satisfying. Love when that goes. I love when a plan comes together. That was the Ghost, so we're not going to do any damage. 21k almost there onto my little Umber. Then Mabsby versus myself to finish the job, potentially. Good on Mabsby, all the way up to the podium. Nice finish. And with Out of City going down, that means the Krunks are all back into the pool too. So I have this NPC round to gather up some credits, and I'll have one big push here with probably 70-odd credits to get not just a duel left, but potentially a Blotto as well. Get all the way up to 4 Aegis. And just really make this Umber ridiculous. Okay, supportive crates. Shield. Let's roll. Alfie, Alfie. There you are. Hello, big guy. Let's just make you as much raw damage as possible. Give the Lynx that. There we go. Let's see, Hetty, you around? Doesn't look like Hetty's going to be around here for this one. Oh, I just passed it. And that Umber is going to be diving directly into a Mammoth, so that is going to be a little bit scary, but here comes the 3 Steam Bursts from the Dual F alongside the Wraith Strike. So there we go, backline absolutely deleted. We will lose Dual F, but our Umber is still staying very, very healthy in this fight, all things considered. And even our little mini bunker in the middle with the backup of the Lynx is going to hold the line rather beautifully. We will take this game. GG's, everybody. Gladly accept the rating. Gladly accept, hopefully, a level here. Dash going up to level 40. There we go. And even the Lynx getting a level. That's awesome. A good start to the day. Was thankful that the Fire Empath Lynx was a potential thing there, the Virtuous Ember Lynx. Heck, Mabsby and I were both able to have the fully evolved Lynxes on the board at the same time. But I definitely had the level advantage there, and at the same time, because I was in a little bit more of a comfortable position, I can be less aggressive with my credit count. So it just allowed me to get even further ahead just by saving so much interest. So it's pretty much around either 50 to 70 credits that entire game. So just getting so much interest every single round. It was definitely a little bit of a best case scenario, that's for sure. Colossus Harbinger sounds kind of crazy, though, at the same time, though. Just rereading chat here with JB. If only Colossus wasn't so tough. The worst part is just, what, Caradulox, right? Because you're kind of forced to roll at level 5 for Caradulox, level 7 for Gnarl, and then late game for Titanoid. Unless you're on Halcyon Sea, potentially, where you're just getting credits due to the region, I don't know how you actually save up enough credits to make that work. Unless you get absolute godlike RNG, which can't be expected. Also, a reminder to everybody, of course, we do have a stream tomorrow. It will be the Illuvium Arena House League. We've got 10 of you already signed up and ready to rock for tomorrow's action, including a bunch for the Caribou Cup here as well. So I'm looking forward to that as always. Hoping to try and see if we can maybe get 4 lobbies of matches here this week. But if not, that's A-okay. We'll keep pushing week after week. Trying our damnedest here to just continue to give at least a once a week friendly community space here for Illuvium competition. And of course, being able to level up your collection or potentially grow your collection, of course, just by playing the game. So if you want to get involved with that, link is in the description of this stream for the quick hot link to the registration page. You can either stay low for the Cardelox or go high for Titanor, but both require a lot of luck. So yeah, trying to actually get all three almost feels impossible, right? When trying to get two is already tough, since of course Twine is basically splashed into what feels like at least 60 to 70% of compositions as of right now. It's just too valuable, such a beefy body, but at the same time with fantastic disruption abilities. So you'd end up needing the entirety of the Cardelox. Go down a couple, there's the Twine. Then you go all the way down, you pick up the Titanor. You've already blown so much credits just on these 3 Illuvials alone. That's super tough. And if you're trying to build a carry behind this, I don't even know exactly which carry you truly go for. You can technically make anything work, and I mean, a bunker composition's probably like the easiest way to think about it, right? Something like a snake. Yeah, something like a dash doesn't make sense. The dual F wouldn't make much sense either, because as much as it's in a corner composition, you would need the rest of the team to be water, but I feel like you'd want some of these other supports that aren't necessarily just water, or you'd want nature to try and just get the passive healing buff, right? I feel like that'd be the most optimal way to play this, right? Get as high as you can on the elk. I guess it would end up being the forest as like your damage carry, but at the same time, your tanks are actually doing a good enough job to make that happen. Yeah, that's an expensive team. That's very, very hard to hit. Depending on how the game is going to shape up, maybe we'll give it a shot here in a second. I for the longest time went with my Invoker composition. There was a point where rogues were so damn dominant that the only way that a Scion team could defend against it was if you went Colossus. So the end game would absolutely look like splashing Titanor or splashing in a Gnarl into that composition. Okay, speaking of powerful rogues, frick. Okay, so here comes Hector. This is gonna be fun. Let's go. Good luck, have fun. Map Speed's back once again, and then Voodoo Cling? Is that an actual player? That's a new face to me. Alright, let's see how it goes. Okay, we are starting off at level 3. That's interesting. Let's pick up a couple of our Illuvials. We even have fire empaths in the form of our Atipo. A couple evolutions, we'll gladly accept that. Yes, good luck, Hector. Good luck, have fun. If you get full Colossus, the Thorns would do enough damage and be great, just hard to get. So, in theory, you wouldn't even need a carry, just go full defense. Well, it might be in the cards. Okay, I mean, this isn't Thorns, but it basically is. I'm very close to getting my Kling up to level 60, so I'd be very happy, actually, to get some early rounds here for our Kling. Hector's going up to 4. I'm gonna have to go up to level 4 as well to try and match. And I was still too damn slow with my augments. My goodness. A very quick 3 nature, so we do have a decent chunk of healing at the exact same time. We have the damage from my Totofi, but it takes a long time to get those shots off, and we will get absolutely swarmed. But let's see what we can do. I imagine this is a sign for things to come, but let's see if we can defend versus Hector in this late game. Claymore and Staff, okay, that could be potentially fun. Ember Bastion coming up through, one of the worst weapons in the game as of this moment. And Hector went for what? They're not going to show me, are they? Voodoo Kling went for the shield. Hector is not going to show me, so we're just going to have to go with our gut. There is a Lynx here I would love to add on to the squad. But again, I'm too damn slow. Atlas, come on, join. Colossus definitely on the mind, however, I did not want it to be Granite Colossus with the Ember Bastion. I'd rather something different. I might be just being too picky. It's not necessarily a bad idea. Rogue, no thank you. Empath, potentially. Solid Start, potentially. And then there's the Thorns here as well, but because I can't guarantee that I'm getting Colossus, I think Solid Start's probably the safest option. Okay, Lynx, hop on in. You can hold that. Keep you in the middle, kind of like this. There we go. I like that setup for now. The bot levels for this game, a little bit higher than last time, so they're going to be in the 30s. So I still do have quite the level advantage. My Illuvials, as it stands right now, average of about 42, I do believe. Okay, Totofi, we'll gladly have you on board. It's 3,000 health. Okay, I'm better off just doing this. 35. Yeah, something like that. We'll just go with that. Now, one player I do want to take a look at here is Voodoo Kling. This is the first time I'm seeing them in action. Level 22. Okay, so they're moving. Good to see. I will say it's kind of gone under the radar over the last couple of weeks, but I do love the fact now that whenever I am playing up against somebody who I might not recognize, it's not a case like I'm going up against their ranger that's level 1 or something like that, or level 2 or 3. Again, the split queues now to allow for newcomers to get their footing in the ranked mode from rating 1280 and below. They never have to compete with one of us. It's nice because as much as winning is fun, absolutely crushing people, to me at least, is not fun. So I'm very thankful that that change was made. Speaking of Voodoo, there they are. Oh, Chianti coming on through. A nice one at that. Damn, okay, nice. Okay, let's make our tanks a little bit tankier. Max health regeneration, I like the idea of that, but at the same time, Halo Stasis is usually a solid pick overall. Let's go Halo Stasis. We'll keep things as is for now. I don't want to necessarily use this, so I'm going to recycle it for the time being. big bull up front, level 51 here for Voodoo Cling as well, loaded up on resistances, so cannot sleep on what I'm going to say is, or not a newcomer, but a new face. Cannot sleep on the new face. My poor Lynx ended up being the first one to tank that. That's a misposition on my part. My tanks should have been much further ahead. Given that we were going up against another bunker composition, there was no point for me to stay bunkered up in the corner. That's just me being lazy with my mispositioning. My levels are going to bail me out here, but a lot of times, if you lose your Lynx that quickly, you're cooked. As soon as my snail gets a shot off, then we're good to go there. Maxed out on economy, all set. The Tofi, come back. Double Lynx action for the time being. We're not trying to protect the snail or anything like that anymore. Something along these lines. Some more tankiness for you. Give you that part. And we can look for some tanks. Oops, that's a mistake. Let's get snail on instead. I didn't originally want to evolve my Lynx, but since we did, might as well run with it. It's an air fighter. I'll gladly let my Relentless Lynx get some experience here, but I don't think I'm evolving this thing. Okay, Buffalo check. Any other Caradulox, of course, or Caradulos. We do see the one from Voodoo Cling. Otherwise, it seems pretty clear. We do take the win versus the bot. Do they have any other Caradulos here? No, they do not. So there's still plenty of bulls in the pool. Okay. Here we go, Caradulo, welcome. Finding a handful of our later game evolutions, nice and quick. No, we don't have to necessarily switch just yet. No need to get Archos in just yet. It's already level 60, in fact 61. It's one of my highest level Illuvials for sure. I can maybe take that attack augment, throw it over to the tank as well. Maybe get the bruiser augment that, I think it's the radiating impact reactor where it does the poison and burning. Might not be a bad idea. I mean, yeah, that'd be a pretty decent combo. I mean, at the same time, though, getting another true tank augment to, say, get the one where it gives you 15% extra health, if we do manage to land Colossus, would be an absolute dream. Okay, the bulwark side of things. Again, making the Ranger Colossus, if I truly wanted to go for it. Would this be the weapon I want to use, though? That's a little bit more supportive in nature. Let's try it. Might be stupid, but let's try it. Okay, let's get another. That's going to be 5 bulwarks now online. There's Radiating Impact Reactor, and then here comes Hector with the Rogues. The surprise of absolutely nobody, because we know this is a very, very good team. Not too bad, all things considered. Awake Darkness, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day, mate. Yeah, the reflective damage from the bulwarks are doing great, great work here. My big mistake already in this fight, or thankfully going to be able to still take care of Hector. My squad is just too beefy. But I could have had Harbinger that fight, and I just straight up didn't. Oh, that could actually be annoying as hell. We might be cooking a little bit. Let's clean up this bench before Surfer Dude yells at me. Okay, physical resistance might not be a bad idea. Energy, no. Resistance on health, that's kind of killer, actually. Oh, but so is Omnivamp. I mean, let's try the resistance variant. Terrablue. All right, we did manage to hit the Caradulox. That's absolutely incredible. While still sitting at a pretty decent economy, or a perfect economy level. Yes, sir, today, one of your happiest days. Hell yeah, love to hear it. Officially a mad dog, so I'm going up against one of your kingpins here, apparently, eh? All right, let's go. No, it's good for you. I'm super happy to hear that. Okay, so we've got Colossus currently online already. What is this, energy? We'll give this to TNT. We'll let you keep carrying for the time being. Level 6. Archos come forth. While this battle happens, I'll quickly let my cat out. Come on, Ash, come here. Alright. So this is just going to be an absolute impenetrable wall. RNG was absolutely nice to me, at least off the start. This is going to be a little bit tougher, though, because now I have to pause. All of my credits at this point, I mean, I could do either one of two things. I could truly give the shout-out to JB and maybe see if I can roll an Axodon. It'd be a little out of place on the team, but at the same time, if I get a reason to use Axodon, I'm not going to complain. Mega Power is not going to do me any good, I don't think, here. The Blinding, that I like the idea of. In fact, I'm going to pick up a couple extras. We're going to go up to level 7. There's Voodoo. Okay. Switch it up so that Caradulox is the one doing the main tanking. TNT kind of hover up the corner. And what is that? Those are Fleesh in the back line, eh? Winx, can you go disrupt that Fleesh and TNT for me, please? Axodon can fit in any comp. It is appropriately very splashable. Here, let's get the... Okay, this is a very weird feeling here in this one. Look at Caradulox actually leading the charge in terms of damage. Because not only do we have the taunt, and then the thorns for when they get hit, but we do also have the augment right here, reflecting stasis reactor, doing additional AoE damage every single time Caradulox gets hit. That is absolutely devastating. And the burn too. TNT's still going to take the lead, but just barely. Okay, so in terms of twines, there are 2 of them that I need to worry about. So Voodoo has a couple, Bad Mech does have a couple, and then Nohi does have a handful of clings. So instead of forcing myself to stay here at level 7 for the best odds for twine, I am going to start putting my credits towards leveling. The likelihood is that I'm probably not hitting Archelion. I'll keep the Seafarer's attempt here as well. I have the other TNT on the bench just in case. So both of these, or at least these couple, will be my just-in-case kind of scenarios. If it happens to hit naturally, because it's still a 25% chance to actually hit a tier 1 at level 7. If we get lucky with the shop next time by, maybe it can work out. Reflection damage with Caradulox is awesome. Absolutely. This is satisfying, I'm not going to lie. Like Darkness, I found that Granite holds rogues better than Magma. And then, interesting. The one thing I need to figure out what I want to do, though, is utilizing my Ranger. Because late game, I have a plan that could make sense with this weapon, but maybe there's a better weapon that I could be using. Alright, hello. Quinks is here. Level 8. Going up against Mabsby. I'm gonna do maybe a roll or two. A few more. I mean, we're gonna end up finding another Archos. That wasn't what I was looking for, so I'm just gonna do double firepower here. 2 TNTs going to join the fight. But optimally, I do need to find at least Goliath sometime soon. This composition will truly start to work the way that I'm thinking as soon as I do. We're going to clean on through this time. Voodoo might not be able to make the next round here. They do have the Verdant Duo too, so Twine and Archelion. Would be huge if both of those came through at the same time. You also have a little scare box. They do hang on, though. Nicely done there, Voodoo. NPC round. Not going to force. I want to force, but I'm not going to. But level 8 is probably where I'm going to end up sitting, but I shouldn't be spending. My odds would not be very good right now. So we have 3 people with Twines. There's 1... 2 Scarabox, but that's about it. What about Adors? Oh, there is an Adorito in play as well, looks like. If the percent healing would be humongous, considering the nature of this team. Gonna take a look and see if there's any alternative. Fire. Could be potentially either Steam or Wildfire, but I'm not really set up for either. Rogue, no thank you. Rogue, no thank you. Okay. I'm going to turn this into a stun. Synergy. Nature. Not going to get nature. Okay. Empath. Scion. I mean, I guess... Correct. Neither of these options are that great, but I guess I'll take the Empath. Just for the tankiness attached to it. Let's give a little bit of augments around the board while we're waiting on re-rolls. Going up against Hector now. Of course, I grabbed the augment and not the ball. Okay, that was a little frustrating, but optimally, I would have loved all these rogues diving directly onto my Caradulo. Instead, it's going to go after a Rue Cup, but we'll try to see if we can make do nonetheless. Poor Archos and TNT are going to be swallowed alive. But look at this, the Caradulo's doing such a good job. Just see, look at this, just chipping away, bleeding away. If the Caradulo's actually had support in this instance, it would have been fantastic, but Hector going to clean me up nice here. Just in case we hit Axodon, I'm going to grab that flood that was there. Voodoo's hanging on still, eh? Nicely done there, Voodoo. We kill off no Heatha. We do, actually. Nice. Resistances every couple seconds might not be a bad idea. Glass Cannon would be suicide. The defensive upgrade is what we'll end up going for. Health augment. There we go. Max HP, potentially. Do something like that. Maybe 1 TNT could come off. Let's get Flood actually into the fray. So no, he drops some... Oh, there's a few. Let's take a look. Not going to roll heavily, just a little. We do end up finding Twine, but a little bit late for the fight. Let's see how we do versus Voodoo. This is their ghost, so we won't knock them out if we win. But still a very scary squad, of course. What's our Archelion, like 42? Right on. We do thankfully have our Quinks on the left-hand side to just absorb stuns and continue to just be an absolute nuisance to that back line, make it so that TNT doesn't get a shot off very often. This is not a 5 Scion team, so completely open to getting taken down, or at least disrupted. Yeah, look at this. My squad is just an absolute brick wall. It's not killing things very fast, but it is nonetheless leading the charge in terms of damage. Still the Caradulox, my goodness. We did lose Voodoo Cling as well. So now all of those nature units are going to be back into the pool. It is a close fight, all things considered, but I think we're going to be able to do it just off the health pool of the Kyrdalox. And now we can roll. Cling. Scarabok. Okay, there we go. Switch out the Axon for the time being. This is not the one I normally use. It's this guy. There's another Twine. I think it's time to give up on the Invoker. Oh, we need that too, though, actually. We're going up against Bad Mech. They're the other player that are actively holding on to Twines. If we can win this handily enough, maybe we can knock them out right now and be sitting pretty for when that NPC round comes around. What I'm probably going to need to do, because my Kyrdalox actually did end up going down. That's a little bit frustrating. There goes the tankiness and the damage. But we do at least kill off the forest. But what I'll probably have to do, like I was saying before, TNT is probably going to end up sitting out. Let's get our Ador in there for that % healing. And see if we can rock from there. Not talking, or I was talking cocky. And look at this. We're probably going to actually lose this round. The one thing I could take some solace about, though, is that there are no other Clings on the bench. Mavspeed does not have any either. And then is Hector trying to troll me a little bit? Not troll me a little bit, but he does have a couple of Clings here at the same time. So I am going to need to actually move, I think, right now. Adorito, welcome. Give you guys these augment. Let's switch these around. Kyrdalox, this time you get to the back. Do something like that. We're not going to get any of our big tanks this time by. And apparently we lose. Okay, cool. There is still a world where we could find our Chelian. Get ourselves some sort of Verdant in play. And I inadvertently wasn't actually calculating this part. We do get Spore online. The problem is, I don't think Hector's team really cares about Spore. So what I'm going to do instead is actually turn this into Dust. This is going to be Dust Colossus. One Twine. There is our next Colossus. There we go, while still being above 70. Is there any world we can hit Titanor? The one thing about this comp, doing it this way, I do not have much passive healing due to nature. Okay, more tank, more tank, more tank. Yes, please. Against Mavsby for this one. Do something like this, potentially. Mavsby does have a Goliath. Is there any other out there? I don't see it just yet. Adorito, take that, please. Gonna do a minor roll down here. There's a world where maybe just the additional beefiness of Geyser might be able to help me out here, too. And with this current setup, the more Adorito gets those casts off, I think just the faster it'll charge its Omega thanks to the attack speed increase. So if we lose one Colossus, it's not the end of the world if we can get some damage done. Yeah, look at that. Absolutely brick-walled. Now, Goliath. I imagine map speed does go down to Hector. That is going to end up being the case. And Hector... I think that looks like my bench, not their bench. That's a weird little glitch. Okay, there we go. Alliance online. I need to be level 9 here to make this work, I think. Gonna pick up a mammoth for the second just to throw it back here. One thing I probably should have kept was the TNT. I would have loved to have actual granite at this point. Let's see. Slightly be a little bit cooked here. Let's see how it goes. Hector's got basically all the rogues I could want, and again, we're just going to kill me off, eh? Interesting. Okay. I have no idea where I could potentially improve. Of course, that bug sometimes happens even still, where if you were spectating somebody else's round prior to playing up against them, the actual battle animation will just straight up not come out. Yeah, like I have no idea how close or not close that battle was. Yeah, we're close. Cutting it very close. We'll get rid of the geyser. Going after many, many things. Guess it would have to be... Yeah, we're gonna completely miss, it looks like. Alright, one final time. My Colossus units will line the back line as best as possible. Dust Colossus. Let's see how they would fare up against Hector's squad. So the Adorito got popped pretty well instantly, eh? That's a little bit frustrating. I thought I had that hole closed enough with the Mammoth there, but that's not going to be the case. We will get snowballed upon, and Hector will take us down. Very, very scary rogue squad indeed, as always. GG's Hector, GG's everybody. But no, Colossus is absolutely a blast when things do work out. I don't think we're going to score any levels this time by. There was a lot of very experienced Illuvials in this one. And we'll keep going. Yeah, we only took one round off Hector, I think, in the early game, and then it was just snowball from there. It was a very good one. That's the thing with Rogue, when able to play Rogue relatively uncontested, you can absolutely slaughter. But at the same time, even some of the bots manage to be stealing Rogue, so it's not even a clear-cut shot. I know personally I've been trying to level up my Rogues as of late, and bots keep using them. I can never get my slash in half the time, because so many bots have penguins. Seems like they know how to do like two builds, like some sort of nature verdant build. And then they know how to do Rogue Vanguard. And then maybe Inferno. That's about it. There's definitely a level difference there as well. I try not to talk about it too much, because at the end of the day, regardless of level, you still have to execute. The level is definitely a factor. And I'm glad you think so there, Hector, but you perform very admirably as well. And I definitely don't have the stats to back up that I'm better by any means. So it's all you, man. All you. Can't max out units. It's a bots play Vanguard. Yeah, exactly. But I'm definitely looking forward to this month. I know I've mentioned it a few times before. But if we do actually manage to get a playtest for Obelisk Rising this month, I feel like it'll lift the sails to a lot of people. And I make it sound like it's a little bit of a downer right now, but the only reason that things seem to be down is because the newest thing we've had as of late is just deathmatch, and deathmatch isn't necessarily the greatest of titles, at least in my opinion. It has its use, it has its audience, it's just not mine, it's just not me. That's okay. Yeah, an Obelisk Rising playtest would absolutely spike the community right back up, in my opinion. The Ranger level and TPI do a huge role. Still beat some level 40 players. If they don't play properly, that's good. Absolutely. You want me to play Rogue? A tempting offer. I mean, if it's in the cards, if the weapon shows up, I'm down. Personally, even as of late, one of my favorite openers over the last day or two since the latest patch is to do 3 Predator with a Rogue weapon, 2 Lynxes, and then build a completely different team on the bench than Rogue. But if nobody then plays Rogue, then I'm already halfway there. That's how I've been kind of playing it as of late. Yeah, I'm definitely known for my Invoker corner, but the funny thing is, I probably haven't played that build in like a month. Like, my tried and true, like, Invoker corner, like the 4 Invoker Bulwark style, I don't think I've played that in a little bit, and it's not because I don't think that it's, like, decent or good. It's just, majority of them are already max level, so I'd rather be leveling something else. Because it's weird, like, I know you can go above level 60 and start getting into 61s. In fact, I think it was my Axon and my Archos and Caradulo, I believe, are all level 61 just due to how often I use them. But especially when you have to take into consideration the Ranger's level, and that your Ranger themselves are getting stronger if your entire collection is leveled, instead of just a couple of Illuvials. I rarely end up trying to level teams that I don't usually use because I just want my Ranger to be better for when I do bring out the Invoker. Still works. Got first within this patch. Right on. Perfect. I was talking before about the Obelisk Rising playtests. I swear, if we're allowed to stream it, I'll probably just turn this into 4 days of streaming the MMO. I'm not even gonna lie. 4 days of streaming Obelisk Rising, and then maybe even increase how long the streams are. Maybe instead of 2 hours, maybe we'll do 3 or 4. Because I get it, I've played MMOs. I realize that 2 hours in an MMO goes by very quickly, and you might not actually get very much done. But again, it all depends on whether it's streamable. Majority of the times, the playtests or alphas or something along those lines do get NDA'd, and if you do get access to it. And this is me talking as if I know that I'm even invited. that might not even necessarily be the case. Illuvium owes me nothing, and I'll continue to say that. I'm just a guy playing and streaming their game. I'm just saying, if it does happen to be allowed, that'd be cool. Alright, Hector's back once again here, alongside Coyote Hype. Alright, this will be a tough one. So remember the last playtest, they didn't allow you to stream originally, but then the last week, they allowed you to, I believe, stream for at least a little bit? But then at that point, I think I only got one stream off because I had already made my schedule for the week and I was a little bit stubborn back then. I didn't want to switch it. So I was thinking that the MMO playtest would go longer. And then it eventually shut down before I can get back at it again. So that was a little unfortunate. We'll see how things go this time. I was going to say, Hector, you're here, right? And I just saw your name light up. So, okay, you're good. Let's use everything off the start, why don't we? I mean, here's my honest reality about it as well, though, because if they let me stream, it's not necessarily the biggest of deals, right? It would end up being the audience that we have here, our awesome community, but majority of the time, like, I don't know, my face alone doesn't draw, if that's so to speak. It would need to end up being actual creators that are larger than me before the game, like, actually attracts more players, because my streams would allow for people who are looking up Obelisk Rising already to see what's going on. But what about learning about Obelisk Rising in the first place? And that's where I'm going to get beat out big time, and that's why, even though, like, I know that I'm been around here with the Illuvium side of things, like, relatively consistently. Can't go past Aqua Blaster, we definitely need that. I realize that as soon as the MMO actually comes out, like, I will get dwarfed very, very quickly in the grand scheme of things. But that's okay. Because it means that Illuvium's growing. And that's the thing, too. The more people that are actually looking for Illuvium content, and the more streamers there are, the better for everybody. Yeah, I know Paz is doing his tower defense, Legion tower defense or something along those lines. He's been doing that over the last little bit. Scoriox went full on. I know Scoriox is already very, very busy, but when he can, I think he's doing like a bunch of AI tools for Pokemon or something along those lines, which is interesting in its own right. Situated like this. Water. We're finding a handful of very high tier Illuvials nice and fast, so I'm not going to complain about that. Your game crashed. Oh no, you still got some time. Hopefully we can get you back in here. Yeah. Just some sort of new eyes on Illuvium would be absolutely fantastic, because I know Illuvium 2, they've been very reserved in regards to marketing, and by reserved, I mean it's borderline non-existent. But at the same time, I understand why they wouldn't necessarily want to push it right now. Wait until you do have that new crazy game out before, I guess, going for it. Does make sense. And then it'll be the newer creators that bring this through. Like, I can see a world where, say, a new, or not a newer creator, but like an established creator plays Obelisk Rising, but then eventually when they go offline, they're looking for more stuff and people find me. And that would 100% help me as well. But I'm just happy to be here. Oh, can my little Fury take this? This is actually kind of close here. Wow, okay, we're barely going to get that. Yeah, I've got a tier 3 and 2 tier 4s. I'm still level 5, considering that it's a 4% chance to find any tier 4s in the first place is kind of crazy. And the fact that I haven't found a TNT at all is kind of annoying as well, even though there's only just one baby snail on the board. Give you some attack damage here, Fury. The Lynx is tempting me, absolutely. You could go for the Stoic Lynx right now, but I think that wouldn't go out too well. I mean, I'd get 4 water if I wanted to do it that way. You know what? Let's get you some levels. And then Valente come join. Valente's a little bit lower, or rather a lot lower. But I have 2 carries that are at least in the 50s as of right now. My Fury almost level 60, actually. A little bit more to push it over the edge. Then Riptor should, in theory, come over and deal with the Valente. I know my Ranger is still unbounded, but at the same time, I'm not going to be able to actually get a secondary comp as this moment. There we go. Clean that one up rather nicely. Okay, you're all set. People should see the final product. People are so used to marketing where words don't mean much anymore, but actually actions and delivering the product. And I definitely agree. I know, heck, I even just told Perry in the arena chat earlier today, it's like, hey, I mean, I love the league section and whatnot, but there's a reason why I don't cover it or talk about it, because if I can't actually play it or use it, it doesn't exist to me. Things could still change, right? And I feel bad because I know they are genuinely putting in the work to try and make this happen. But gaming has just bit me so much that I have to be absurdly cautious. Because yeah, say gameplay, or not gameplay trailers, but cinematic trailers for gaming as of late. If I see a game come out and they only give a cinematic trailer, not a gameplay trailer, I know your game's dog. Like, it's bad, because by doing a cinematic trailer, that tells me that your gameplay is not good enough to be showcased by itself. And it's too bad, because there are some games that probably do have fantastic gameplay even still, but as soon as I see a cinematic trailer, I assume the worst. Like, there was, especially in the Web3 space, my god. There's so many games in the Web3 space where I can watch the trailer and still tell you absolutely nothing about what the actual gameplay is of the game. And that's incredibly infuriating. I have a diploma in marketing. Those things worked 10 years ago. Yeah. Well, the thing is also, 10 years ago for gaming, we would get a big push with cinematic trailers or things like that. But we always knew that the game that we were getting, first off, we would actually own it. And then second off, there wasn't the reliance on day one patches or DLC. We knew that we were going to get a complete game no matter what. So it wasn't as hard of a sell. Like, something cinematic could be very, very cool. I think of World of Warcraft, for instance. They would have their cinematics coming on through rather consistently, and they were very beautiful. It was very Very fun, and I would not necessarily say that it took away from the experience by any means. But anything nowadays is just a hard sell. Let's see, if I want to actually be going for water here, I am dealing with Reload Queen. There are 2 Axons on the board. I'd love to be able to at least get up to an Axon myself, though. TNT will probably join us here in a second, too. Yeah, it's just unfortunate because we see developer after developer, and it's not just a Web3 game thing either, but just fall into the same traps over and over and over again. I know the big one for Illuvium in particular that I bring out is that they focus super hard on the diehards, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong, because the people who are investing the most should have the most enjoyment in theory, right? But the thing is, it comes at a cost where there's absolutely nothing for the casual user to actually do very much in Illuvium. Because if I'm not pushing ranked right now, what else could I be doing? The answer is essentially nothing. There's nothing that you can do. There's no battle pass system. There is no achievement. I played so much StarCraft and got into esports in the first place just because I loved playing StarCraft and getting the profile pictures, the equivalent of Illuvatars. I would just play and try and beat all the achievements to get those profile pictures. And that somehow spun into an esports career. And just turned into just straight up love for gaming. Turn you into a tank for now. Fury, come on through. Let's give Ebb some love. That's why I'm supporting the Web3 gaming space. We use only the copy of the game. Now we have ownership, absolutely. And Fortnite have so many skills in it, or skins, and it's illegal to sell. Yeah, technically, I remember the whole Pokemon side of things too, because Pokemon, of course, is the closest thing that we can compare with here with Illuvium, right? But if you wanted to be a breeder in Pokemon and raise Illuvials, raise Pokemon for other people to use, it's technically illegal. You cannot sell Pokemon. Meanwhile, that is essentially the entire aspect of what Illuvium is, and it's encouraged. That's why I always say that there's going to be a ton of people that want to see this game succeed, but are kind of stuck pigeonholed behind whatever Pokemon forces for the time being. And we're finally seeing the first cracks because of power. So I'm still optimistic. I mean, look on that. Feels like a waste of time, except for the time with friends. Yep, absolutely. Okay, Invoker online. Where can we go from here? Reload still kind of just matching me shot for shot, so to speak. My tank line is non-existent. But am I really that pressured right now? Still 79 health? It might be alright, actually. I think we'll end up pushing up a couple more levels here. Especially if we can get to level 8 or level 9, start looking for more Alfie, start looking for more Rake. Because, yeah, my tank line is also going to be needing some help. We can get this Kling in here. Maybe if we're lucky, we can find some Scarebach. Imagine combining the two, ownership and fun with friends. 100%. There's so much that can be done, and that's why I'm still super, like, hopeful here for Illuvium as a whole. Because not only is it ownership, fun with friends, there is a section that you could earn a little bit if you really wanted to, and the things go your way. The option is there. You can have the play styles that would be illegal in other games be something you can actually do in this game. And just much more. And I'm very, very optimistic. Or still very, very hopeful. Alright, good shot, Sinolf. Immediately taking down the Furiox, but again, just no tank line, eh? Yeah, that sucks. Couple rough rounds in a row here. So there's a couple Goliaths for the people down towards the bottom. So I really should be going for just leveling, it seems. Hector actually went for mud, so that's why they're still so low on level. Swine, you could come through. Help at least a little bit of our tank issue. This could even turn into Steam Invoker if I can land one more doggy. There's 2 doggies out there. There's just a lot of water. I went into for the start of a full water build when there was so much water already on the field. However, getting this chip does help immensely. We'll get the stun for the Glacial Grip this time by. More damage, potentially. I mean, oddly enough, the defensive option where you get the shield is probably the best in terms of raw stats, too, for Omega Power. So I think we'll take it. Let's give water to you, actually. Set up like that. Here's Hector now. And I can't quite level just yet, so I'll hang on to the credits. 2 squiz in front of me, actually. I'm going to not deny that. Is there a Scion that I could substitute? If I were to have substituted out a Scion, I would have needed to be in that last round, actually. Or in the start of this round, even, because it was the weapon round. A closer battle, but we will still end up falling, I do believe. Yep. Omega Power as shield. Bulwark. Fire. No, no, no. Nature. Let's try that. Okay, level 9. Let's switch up the way we can get this set up. Archos come through for some additional heals. Eb, come over here so that you can block the Furiox. We can swap out 1 water units here, like so. Not a bad setup. It's a little bit more defensive now. Yeah, that was a very close one, absolutely. Good Sin-Off shot. Love to see it. Immediately going to be half-healthing the tanks, but we need another one. Might not be enough, thanks to all these heals that are coming on through. A nice shot once again from the Sin-Off going up against Coyote Hype. We will barely be able to clean this up. I should have that tank on Megan on somebody else, I think, now. We'll be doing one more game after this one here today. We found Scarabok, but is it too late for that? Not necessarily. So what we're going to do, since we're going up against another Sinolf, we're going to spread out ever so slightly. I'm going to give the tanky augment over to my Sinolf, because it's the one that has the energy resistance on top of it. So Sinolf's going to shoot. It will do some damage to my tanks, but at least in terms of the carry that they're shooting, in theory, it should do minuscule damage. Yeah, like, I'm comfortable taking this damage 100%. And then we just clean it up and turn it around nice and quick. Perfect. Now, because I haven't been able to find any Caribous, like, at all during this game, I'm going to be missing out on the potential for 8 water, and then potential for toxic. Extremely frustrating, but is what it is. Can I find a break? There we go. We can actually utilize our full ranger now. Steam Invoker coming on through. Rake's going to be diving towards that back line where we see the Octius hanging out. I'm going to keep the damage augments onto my Furiox because I have more faith that my Furiox will survive longer than the Rake. But the Rake can still dive in and do its thing. In fact, it absolutely cleaned up that fight very, very nicely. Now, the team's starting to come around. My big timing is going to be when Reload Queen dies. The fact that we have Octius makes this a little bit more complicated now. Another Scarabok. How many snakes are here, too? Yeah, it's literally just due to Reload Queen then. One more Scion. Let's make you a Scion, actually, here, Rake. Robert Tacho, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Do I have a video guide that covers the composite class and affinity abilities and how they work? I do believe I have one. It was a little while ago, and I think everything for the most part still functions similarly. But you can... excuse me. Let me clean this up real fast. No, I'll talk again. Sorry. This is Coyote Hype. Bang. Bang. Okay. Yeah, I do believe I have one available. Like, what does every synergy do, I think is what I called it. What does every synergy do in Illuvium? And it does break everything down as best as possible, yeah. And I don't think anything's changed. Alright, Coyote Hype once again. Our last battle was very close, but they've now added on this forest for a little bit of additional damage. Very, very scary. We do thankfully kill it off before they get to my Sinolf. Ranger gonna finish it off, though. But how about my Ranger still cooking in the back line alongside this Furiox? We're barely gonna hold on. That worked out. Reload. Are you gone? They are gone, and with that, it is time to go. I think it might be too risky to go for Octius, oddly enough. We're going to end up swapping things up. Level 10. Reliant online. That's my third bulwark. Granite is now online, of course, as well. We're going up against Hector. There's one doggo. There's another Sinolf. Case of going after way too many things at once. Not gonna get any of our big guns just yet here. Good shot here for Sinolf. That did touch the Moncure, at least for a moment. We need another big shot towards that Fern. There we go. Now that the Flood actually evolved, it's tanking a lot better. It's still super close. That's a good shot right there. Beautiful, Sinolf. Dual F is here now too. 3 Steam Invoker. So what we can do for now, let's make our Rake just pure... Did I just dupe? Hey, well, that was not intentional. I'm gonna forward that later. Use this clip as evidence. Because I went to go switch this augment onto what was already a red augment. And I created another version of the synchronizing pulse reactor. Huh. Umber is here. We'll play this as we were, but that's definitely something to take note of. Alright, Coyote Hype. The last time we fought, it was definitely tough. What I'm going to do is move these over at the last possible moment. I want them as clumped in this area as possible. Between the Goliath and the Doggo. Look at that shot. Immediately evaporating that back line. Heck, even Umber is still in the game. Next shot's got the Phosphorus' name on it. No, actually went to the Ranger. But now it's up to the damn Birdo to somehow clutch this up. It's not going to be the case. In fact, they're going to take the whole damn game. There we go. GG's, everybody. Gladly going to level here onto the Flish. Riptorus up to 55, maybe? Yes, there we go. I definitely need to rewind that, though. I think I straight up just duped an augment. That was weird. Yeah. Having another full augment in that fight definitely did make a difference. Thank you, Hector. GG's. Here, let me double check and see if I can find it for you, Robert Tacho. I'll link it on Discord. I have a brief moment here while I'm waiting for the next game, actually, so we can get that for you. Okay, let's see. Every Omega explained, but that's for Deathmatch. All Synergies explains. There we go. Alright, there you go. I just sent it to you on Discord. where it's really weird now with Mud, right? Before, I remember Mud, as long as you got 4 Mud, you had that Exalted Monk gear all leveled up and looking good, that you could still come back before. But now it feels like even though you do get a very, very strong power spike, if it happens too late, it still doesn't feel like enough. And then, of course, with water being very popular, trying to get Rip Lance is like pulling teeth. Because you'd need the Berserker side of things. Because that was at least 2 Berserker, right? One thing that kills me about this space sometime. And I understand it's because it's just so ingrained in the Web3 gaming culture. But it drives me nuts whenever, like, I post a video, it's something gameplay related, or maybe it's on the stream VOD after the fact, or we're just having a fun time, we're doing House League, we're having a great time, and then somebody always has the post. Oh yeah, but the ILV token being at X and X price is killing me. This game sucks. I hate the fact that this had to be Web3, but I'm happy because of the ownership side of things. But just play to earn has just, it stings, man. The fact that it was the whole focus of Illuvium. I don't mind play to earn being a part of the game, but it should not be the only thing the game has. Where do we stand right now? Oh, we made it past Goofy. And I'm actually, oddly enough, right behind Awake Darkness. If I can score a win this time, I might be able to pass you. Matter 1 moving up here as well was interesting to see, considering they're so new. Hero as well. And this name doesn't ring a bell either. Orochimaru? Couple new names up in the top 20. 5 Bulwark with Toxic and Umber still good. I think that's kind of what we did during... Oh, it wasn't Toxic though, I don't think. It was instead Steam. It was Steam Aegis instead of a Toxic Aegis with an Umber. Yeah, 5 Bulwark. The bleeding of the Toxic, and then just an Umber cleaning things up. Absolutely. That last fight there was really satisfying, though. When you actually do get the Duelef to pop off Steam-boosted damage across multiple units, it's satisfying. It's hella satisfying. Alright, last one of the day. We've got Hector back alongside Coyote Hype once again, but this time, Red Jack is going to join us here this time. So, 4 out of 8. We're starting at level 3 again. Alright. Last matchup of the night. Alright, it's gonna throw me a Caribou immediately. A little bit of sympathy after the last game where I could not find one to save my life. I can't remember which Tipo I used, so I guess I'll just use this one this time. Yeah, it'd probably be that one. That worked out. Couple levels. I think I'll grab the Grocco because air bulwarks are not natural to find in Illuvium. Just in case I want to play something cute, maybe we can make that work today. Whenever you get an alluvial like that that allows for unnatural combinations, it can be rather fun. We'll get a level on through. Go Snugs, one of the bots, our first opponent. Bots this time level-wise, level 42, so it is basically an exact match up against me here. Set up like that. The bulwark didn't actually do me any good. The extra water didn't do me any good, so a little bit of a miss on the micro-optimization, in my opinion. I should have had that as a nature flish bonded to my ranger for a little bit of water plus nature and scion. We'll get away with it in the end anyway, but just something to note for later. Okay, weapon-wise, okay, Tempest Lance coming on through. Flame... There's no one else doing fire right now, eh? Let's give the Flame Warden staff a shot. In fact, I do need offensive augments. Something along these lines. Like, damn it, a little slow on that regard. Maybe we do grab Rhoda too. Again, thanks to the way that this is shaping up, we might be able to try stuff we don't get to do very often. We'll be at level 5 here in a second, but if I don't have to level, maybe I don't want to. Energy, no. Energy, no. Solid start only being 1 second is negligible. I guess the nature is the way to go. Okay, you can hop off for a second. More damage, yes please. Okay, Rye, you're a little bit stronger. I did not get it over to the Rye in time, so I do not have the damage augment onto my best Illuvial. Considering that the bot actually leveled up to 5, I probably should have leveled up as well. Putting a lot of faith here on the Caradulo to hold the line. Might be able to get away with it for lucky. It's gonna be close, but yeah, Emberling Rod. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I should have leveled. Cut the corner a little bit too close. There we go. There's one of the Predator Illuvials. Got a Lynx involved here as well. Now, I'm not afraid to keep my augments onto the Gorilla. My Gorilla is actually one of my pride and joys, oddly enough. Even though I don't necessarily like this Illuvial, this Gorilla I did actually fuse myself, so I'm very, very proud of it. Coyote Hype, our next opponent, and since I lost the last round, I'm just going to stick with it. If they do beat me, they beat me. But I'm curious. Let's see, Gorilla, what you got in terms of damage. We take care of the Tatofi nice and quick. There goes the Ace as well. This might still be doable if the Gorilla can clutch. With the Omega already going on through, there is some hope. We do manage to get it even though we were under-leveled. Hell yeah. And an NPC round's coming around the corner. my other links come on through. Okay. Yeah. This might fall flat on my face, but it's the nature of the team comp that we're going to be going for. Unironically, I'm going to try Shock, but we're going to try Shock Aegis. You get a Brawler Augment. I need this to get recycled into a Phase Breaker. Hetty, I do need at some point. Kuka, it's not the end of the world. Valente, go away for now. Going up against Red Jack, who's also level 5. Have a slight level advantage. And to be fair, I have a lot of my higher level Illuvials on the board, so we might be in a pretty good spot, all things considered. We'll give the Gorilla the Omega. I meant to let that Omega hit just a little bit more. Yes, we do get to jump on the links to a perfect case scenario for positioning. I think we can clean up here. And of course, the Flame Warden staff as well here for the Ranger. It did just get a buff in the latest patch so that its actual damage output is a little bit better. So I was wondering what the heck that big AoE was, but it was actually the Ranger weapon doing a considerable amount of damage. That was a pleasant surprise, all things considered. Okay, a couple more evolutions here. Heck, I could even go for Fury if I wanted to. That's kind of crazy. Okay, you go here. Switch this into a blue or red. Maybe this will hold us over for now. Hector, who we're going up against next. Could I potentially use this little guy? Maybe, but I'm not going to use him just yet, I don't think. Alright, the Hetty off to the side means my Lynx and my Rogue are going to go right towards it. That's fine. Burst it down nice and quick if possible. Only one of the Lynx's Omegas was used, so this next one's going to chop through very nicely. And yeah, we're going to just end up cleaning up rather nicely here. A very strong start, but still missing a lot of the main pieces. Need to start building this team. Nice thing is that I am completely uncontested right now. Alright, there's the Roo. Let's see, which is my strong links? It's that one. Perfect. It's really going to make me want to evolve this thing, eh? I will behave. Let us keep it like that for now. We're 2 levels down, but we do have the level advantage in terms of our Illuvials. Might be able to clean up anyway. We do lose one of our Lynxes. That's not necessarily a good thing. The Chuko. That's what I needed, actually. In fact, you know what, Fury? Let's sit you up for now. Gorilla coming in close. Can it clutch, actually? Might just... Wow, this taunt actually absorbed one of the underroot shots from the... from the Cling? That's crazy. Damage. That's increased damage. Okay, Railu, there you are. I need to clean up this bench, though. It's a little cluttered. Rota. I was thinking maybe we could use it, but maybe we won't for now. Hetty might be a little bit too early. And then, you know what? Maybe we don't even go for Predator. Or, you know what? Do this. Going for too many things right now, it looks like. We'll pause at Chuka. This is around the time where I'd probably want to switch off my Lynxes anyway. Oh boy, this is actually surprisingly close, but we will end up going down. Okay, Omega and Shield, potentially. Is there any chance we can get Combat Rhythm once here today? Nope, not today. Let's go for the Glass Cannon. That's basically Shock in a nutshell. Bruh. It wants me to evolve this Lynx. Exalted Monk, or not Exalted Monk here, Exalted Gorilla has arrived. Not what I'm looking for, but if they're going to give it to me, I'm not going to complain. Let's see, what did they give me augment-wise? Support crate. I'll take the immune. Okay, Chuko, we got Predator now online. So I'll get rid of the Lynx, bring in Tiruro. And at least for the time being, since I'm still cooking, let's turn this into a Revenant. Probably will not stay that way, but we can do it for now. Since we're not contested on basically anything, we can keep going. There's our Archos. Bring you into the play. Aegis could actually come online now. But I'll refrain for the time being. Let's keep looking for our shock units. There's a Rue. There's a few. We're one away from our first. And that's the beauty. I can't predict my team. I kind of give instruction about it as I'm talking about it, but that's the nice thing about if I'm playing against you in the lobby. You know what my favorite team is, but then you'll look at what my team is actually shaping up as, and you'll look at it and go WTF, basically. And that's exactly what I want. Phase Breaker. We're not going to get the Phase Breaker this time. So let's see. Can we land one? Oh, we're right on the verge of two of them. Gonna get greedy. I do not want to wait here much longer. There's one. One more Rue, please. Oh, is that gonna make... There we go. Bam. Shock Aegis with the squiz on top. Beautiful. Let it rain. This is a bit of a best case scenario. And appropriately enough, right here for Robert Tacho. I know you've been loving your shock as of late. Well, this isn't a bad setup. I still have about 30 credits left to go here. So all things considered, that wasn't too painful of a roll down. Okay, just who do I get rid of for the time being? As we go up against Coyote Hype, I think the answer is none. We just level instead. Pork Shock. Let's go. Okay, now who to Aegis buff in this instance? TP Ruko is not the one. Let's let Gorilla go nuts. We're not going to get the Phase Breaker just yet. Okay. Tiruro, please do not dive directly into a Kuka. That would be a bad time. There we go. So I seen somebody do a... Like, I enjoyed Shock Aegis for a long time, but I seen during this week in Illuvium that somebody did a build where it's Shock with Predator. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, that actually makes a lot of sense with Shock softening up the other Illuvials It makes it much better for the Predator Illuvials to actually hit their execute threshold. And then if you can then turn that into Squiz going nuts, there's potential there, and that's kind of cool. Now I'm going to, since I'm in the lead of this lobby and I have my core pieces, at this point here, I don't have to hit the gas anymore. If I lose, I lose. That's fine. But, like, I'm feeling all right, all things considered. And then Riley, as much as it's awesome to have Riley on board, it's not much of a DPS. So it's better off just kind of being an off tank of sorts. So I'm just going to keep it there to protect Squiz. Yeah, look at this. Watch Monkier, or not Monkier. Watch Grilla in a second here. Empowered Strike, Empowered Strike. It's eventually going to go down, but we still have plenty of Illuvials where that came from. Drunken Fern would fit 100% if I'm not specifically going for Templar. It could fit. Like, even still, just as is. Like, let's take a look here. So, Amphex, one of the bots actually are holding the Crunks and some of the Ferns. Hector does have some Crunks here and Ferns as well, so that's going to be contested. I will be very lucky to even see a Crunk or a Fernite. So, I cannot pigeonhole myself into getting the Disneyland version of this build. For Disneyland, I would need a Blotto and a Blazonite. However, it's contested. If I sit there and try to roll for it, I will 100% lose. So there is only one other option that I can really go for, and that's just getting stuff on the board. Okay, for whatever reason, I don't think either of these augments work properly, so I'm going to switch it. Oh, resistance shredding. Oh, that could help executions even better. Breach pulse, yes please. Give that to Squiddy. We are still missing everything in regards to getting a phase breaker. Bry, you can hold that. You can hold that. Speaking of the Blotto, it is going to be coming on through here for Hector, actually. This could be a little bit rough here for us. My Exalted Gorilla is going to be diving directly into a Forest. So what I'm going to try and do is slightly move my rogues in a little bit of a better position to tank for the Gorilla. Force the Forest to maybe attack something that's going to blind it instead. It might not work out this time, though, because it looks like the Forest went for my tank instead. Thankfully, my Gorilla can dip out of there for just a moment. But we've gotten a lot of opportunity for shock bolts to come through. Gorilla, can you clean up a few? We do get the Adorito, so this is still very doable. But not quite enough. We were also out-leveled, so good on Hector. Good win. And now we got ourselves another augment. Combat rhythm or something, please. No, I am going to go just for the offensive boost because I honestly, genuinely don't know what else to get. We still miss the phase breaker. So how do we make this hit harder? I think with more fire. We got the Dark Hollows coming through here from one of the bots. Again, I absolutely hate the fact that bots have Dark Hollows, but they are very pretty to look at. I absolutely agree. We got an Umber coming on through. I did not see that originally until it was too late, but maybe with there being so many squishy Illuvials, the shock can make up for it. I still have both of my Predator Illuvials alive. Get onto that Umber. Get him, get him, get him. Execute. There we go. Still a very close fight. We're going to end up dropping. We could not deal with the Rip Lance. they'll remove the Dark Hollows next patch, which is a good thing, 100%. Let's see, Snowball Force Reactor. Going up against Red Jack. What's irritating for me now as well, I'm not used to this ever becoming the case, but Red Jack went for a Fisto. Normally people do not go for a Fisto, so I'm in a little bit of an awkward spot where my late game closer is going to be contested, which at least personally I think I have to go for something I normally do not do. Same time, though, they have one right there in front of me here as well, the ramp fight. Yeah, we're actually going to get cooked really badly here, damn. Yeah, it surprises me that for the longest time, because I even brought it up to Nil one time before, like way back in the day, saying, like, don't you realize that the Dark Hollows being on bots completely trivializes and devalues the Dark Hollows? Well, how else are they going to know that they're there and then want to buy them off the Illuvidex? I don't even. Alright, Coyote Hype. Sinolf is there, which is going to make things rather uncomfortable here for me. With one final move, I flipped my trap card, a little rampy. It was not very effective, but we'll still try it anyway. I figure one good Omega to maybe help out with some of this Predator execution and Squiz execution could be useful. But we do absolutely evaporate once again. Trying to make shock work, but we were falling flat. We do need to move now. We've at least made it into the rating. But 11 HP is not a comfortable spot to be at. Finding Octius is a nice find, though, I'm not gonna lie. So Patty has a Squiz. Of course, I just got Octius. How many Octius did Red Jack have? Correct. Okay, they're like 3/4 of the way to a Fisto. Is the Aegis buffed Gorilla still what I want to be using right now? Wow, I am missing phase breakers like it's nobody's business. Okay, level. Do I have another Scion? I don't, so we need to get you in here. Phase breaker. Holy crap. Okay. We're gonna miss on all fronts. Aegis buff you, Snowball you, Rampy, Flare, Ace. Oh, time ran out. I was still going. But maybe. Rampfire's in a fantastic position. To the skies we go. Big damage, but look at that. They're still so healthy. I Aegis buffed the TP Ruko instead just to get an upfront burst, hoping that then that lets Gorilla Snowball instead. And it looks like it was able to work this first time. I still have, let's see. Do I complete on Predator's kind of critical for what I'm doing here? I cannot level enough. I think we get rid of our taste. We put in you. So Aegis buff the heck out of that. I'm not going to find any rampies. Let's see what we can do if we can finish the job here. Going up against Coyote Hype. Ramp fight or finds a fantastic spot to sit in. Let it rain, but can we get the damage done? We will not be able to. The shot from the Sin-Off did come through in time. But we still have the execution. Gorilla's in a good spot, going to sit directly into a beam of water, and nothing good is going to come from that. Coyote Hype going to take me out here. GG's. But of course, that's the last game of the day, which means we're not leaving just yet. We shall end up falling. Again, the big thorn in my side in that game as my Graco gets up to 51. There we go, Graco. The fact that Red Jack also went for Octius, that final roll down, instead of chasing for Ramp Fight, that would have been for a Fisto. And if I could get a Fisto, then I'm finding resets for days with this comp. Didn't quite work out. It was a valiant effort, I do believe. But how about the two players leading this damn thing? We've got Coyote Hype in the green, Hector from Mad Dogs up in the top in the red. One away from potentially having 8 nature, but not going to find it. Meanwhile, Coyote Hype, they've got the Scions, the Invokers, they've got the duo left. Let's watch this shot. It's lined up to be pretty nasty. But what a move actually from the Blazonites. It moved over just a ton, or just a smidge, thanks to the Quinks, I think, and stopped that blast from hitting absolutely everybody. But Duolef has another shot coming around the corner. That one going in the Blazonite, and solely the Blazonite. It shall tank for its friends. It will tank for the little snake that could. Takes care of its other fellow snake. And with the Ranger at the backup, with the Burden's puddle on top of it as well, Coyote Hype will take some damage, but not enough to finish a job. One more time here for this battle, whether it be Coyote Hype or Hector. It ends right now. You hype the videos and you have the possibility when it works. Oh, thank you. I definitely appreciate it. And yeah, the hype points for liking videos. Exactly, yeah. I don't talk about it too often, but it is definitely something that does go a long way with helping. So, by all means, would absolutely love, if you're enjoying yourself, to drop some hype, especially for our final battle here. Double Octius on the floor here for Coyote Hype, to the point where Goliant is going to take a break. Good shot there from the duo left into the support line, but the Forest is still alive. The Scions are being collapsed on. Forest still above half health, and this is looking troublesome. Duo left needs an absolute money shot, and it's not going to be coming on through. That is going to be Hector taking this one from behind and getting the win. GG's. There we go. That was a fun way to close things out. GG's, everybody, today. That was fun. Robert Tacho, I see your comment. You're already at 211 subs. If you reach 500, will there be a mega tournament? I tell you what, there is, like, I don't like to set a sub goal for an event, so to speak, because I do feel like it's kind of forcing it a little bit. Like, similar to how some people will live and die by having giveaways onto their stream or something along those lines. Then what ends up happening is that the audience that you get don't end up being the kind of audience that you want, so to speak. Very similar to what we would see in game, where I'd call out people for being an extractor. You're then just getting a stream extractor, and they're here for the wrong reasons, so to speak. I take a lot of pleasure in knowing that everybody who's here is here because they, one, probably love Illuvium, and two, they enjoy what I do, without any sort of arbitrary goal or expectation in return. And that means the world to me, even if it means I grow slower. That being said, my big goal that I do want to hit sometime one day, it doesn't have to be anytime soon, but I want to be able to hit the 1,000 sub mark. Because that is what changes things from this being strictly for fun to then opening up the opportunity towards the YouTube partnership. And it can definitely change things and allow me to focus on this even harder than I do already. But it does kind of change the dynamic a little bit. And at the end of the day, no matter what, if I'm having fun, that's the first thing. First and foremost. Because if I'm having fun, it's easier for me to get everybody else to have fun too. If it seems like I'm here because I'm forced to, y'all will feel it and it's not a fun time. Not in the slightest. Because like, I'll show it off exactly the kind of goal that I am looking for something way down the line. I don't expect this to happen anytime soon once again. And whether I even meet this or not is not the end of the world either. But I'll show you what I'm looking at as soon as my OBS behaves. Because what I'm looking at, I guess there's two thresholds. So I guess 500 would be one that I could look at. But if I were to try and grow this channel to, say, 500 subs, I would then get the equivalent of what you would see on Twitch, where there's Twitch subs. And I would absolutely turn that on as long as I could find some sort of value for people that actually do it. Like, I just don't want to see here, like, this is why I don't talk about, like, having a donation box or anything like that. Because am I doing anything special for people that are going the extra mile and supporting me financially? Right now, I'm not. I just have the content and that's it. And you don't need to pay nothing for that. So if I can find a way to make it so that memberships are something special as a part of the community, that I can do something extra for those individuals, then hell yeah. Like, if we hit 500 subs, we're golden. And then the beautiful thing too, I'm doing this backwards. A lot of people get subscribers before watch time hours. Not only have we beaten the watch time hours already to get the subs, or not the subs, but the memberships, if 500 subscribers gets hit. But if I get to the main one, where it's 1,000, we've almost hit enough watch hours to hit the big gun, like the actual main partnership side of things. So, my goal, that's why I set 1,000, because I'd love to go all the way here with the YouTube partnership side of things. I know people then say, well, if this is your goal, or if your goal is to aim for that, then why aren't you doing Twitch? And personally, I just don't like the platform. I've worked with it for a long time in my past job, for instance. And while the equivalent of getting the memberships on Twitch, you then just need like 50 followers and and an average of 3 viewers, which is absurdly low. But the thing is that Twitch's site on ads are much more intrusive. And it's a big turnoff alongside other stuff that, not necessarily the platform themselves, but how they handle themselves sometimes, can be a little bit of a turnoff, so to speak. So that's why I focus on YouTube. I don't really do any sort of multi-streaming. And just as you said there, actually as well, Awake Darkness, YouTube is more family-friendly as well. And while I do occasionally drop the occasional cuss, that's the idea, because I want this what I do to be family-friendly. I think of, say, my own kids in the family room. If they have me up on the TV, and am I getting them to want to play the game? Are they having a fun time? Or am I being raunchy and, like, would be embarrassing to give to kids? So, while kids aren't the full focus of my audience, absolutely not. I know the majority of my audience are, like, in their either early adulthood or middle-aged adults. But I want this is a creature capture game. This has the potential to be completely family-friendly. This has the potential where me and the boys and my wife one day can queue up into a dungeon together and go catch Illuvials or something like that. I love the idea that's a thing. That's the audience that I absolutely want. And then everybody else who's having an absolute blast with Illuvium. Dennis, thank you so much. Hope you're having a fantastic day. But with that, I shall be closing out the stream here for today. We do again have a stream happening tomorrow where we do have Illuvium Arena House League making a return once again. 10 of you have already signed up. If you want to hop in, if before you head out here for today, in the description of this video, the link to the registration page is there. Make sure you get in while you can. I would hate to throw you onto the wait list or something along those lines. Get in, of course, while you can. Kirito, good to see hope you get there. It also means Illuvium is successful. Who knows what'll happen with in December with the MMO. And that is something that is always actively on my mind, is what happens if the MMO doesn't hit? Or what happens if it's just good enough, but then doesn't keep the lights on? At that point, I will definitely be going on a break of some sort. But I will, no matter what, be very, very happy and thankful for all the people I've met through Illuvium, all the times that I've had, and most importantly, at least to me, having the opportunity to be with this community that relit the spark into doing what I do now after it was taken away from me and drained away from me from my previous job. So I have you to thank no matter what. And whether we go to the moon or whether we get put in the ground, I will be forever thankful of our time together. So thank you so much, everybody. It genuinely means the world to me. Yeah, we'll close things out here for today. We gotta, as grown-ups, unfortunately, gotta keep doing everything decent. Absolutely. As always, regardless of if it's in the deathmatch pit or in the arena, I hope you can have fantastic luck with your matches. Good luck on your training, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for some more Illuvium Arena House League. It'll be fun. I hope to see you there.